Good evening and thank you for joining us on News 360. As always, it is live from Adesawe, Kanda in Accra. My name is Aisha Yakubuhali.
And my name is Pa Kwesi Asari. And coming up in the next 60 minutes.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Supreme Court says members of parliament can only vacate their seats if that MP switches political party whilst in parliament.
Electoral Commission begins early dispatch of electoral materials to the regions ahead of the 2024 elections.
Also coming up tonight, we'll tell you how, apart from jobs and the economy, what voters in Brekum are voting for.
In business tonight, 40 oil marketing companies part ways with tanker owners union over transparency and accountability concerns.
And later on the foreign front, South Africa cut supplies to thousands of illegal miners who hiding underground. We've got details of all these stories, plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X.
In the details this evening, throughout the day, the Electoral Commission has been dispatching electoral materials to various regional offices ahead of the December 7 elections. We have our man, Noble Crosby Annan, who has been to the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, and he will be joining us shortly to give us more details.
All the parliamentary ballot papers for the Greater Accra region has been transported to from InnoLink, one of the printing houses mandated to be printing ballot papers for the Greater Accra region. The ballot papers that have arrived here at the Greater Accra Regional Police Headquarters is that of the parliamentary elections. It's been a very, very busy day for party agents, some who followed the transportation of the ballot papers or the bags in which these ballot papers have been kept in from InnoLink up until the Regional Police HQ here in Accra. Now from here, it will be distributed to the various constituencies. That is after the presidential ballot papers have also been added to it. When these ballot papers got here, it was a long day for the agents. They had to inspect the seals put on the ballot papers that have been kept in the bag that has been sealed to ensure that nobody has tampered with these seals, to inspect the quality of the papers that have been kept in the bag, and then they have been kept at the police armory right behind me where the blue gate is. That is where these bags which contain the ballot papers, parliamentary ballot papers of course, for the 2024 elections have been kept. We'll try and speak with the Greater Accra Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Madam Penkra. We'll try and reach her and have a quick conversation with Madam Penkra on what has the process been. So, for Madam Penkra, good evening to you live on News 360 on TV3. Just a few words from you. What has been your assessment of the entire process so far?
Oh, so far everything has been successful.
Everything has been very good so far.
All the ballot papers, and I mean we have gotten all the quantities, so we are okay.
So what is happening from here?
From here we'll leave it maybe up to next week.
Okay.
Then when we receive the presidential ballot papers, to send them to their respective districts, police command.
Where on election they will be transported to the various polling stations for elections to be cast. Thank you so much. Madam Prinkra is the Greater Accra Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, speaking with us on how the process has been. I should also tell you that that is not all. There's a lot of work for these agents to do going into the December 7 elections, the checking of these seals after they have been transported from here to the various constituencies, and when they are transported from the constituencies to the various polling stations on election day. I spoke with some of the agents on how the journey has been from InnoLink, one of the printing houses mandated to be printing for the Greater Accra region, on how the journey has been, the security detail, and how their presence has influenced or protected the ballot, and the levels of confidence they have in these bags that have been kept at the police armory. We can take a listen to some of them now.
Every ballot paper was checked and cross-checked according to the serial numbers per the ranges on the ballot papers. So clearly we just assisted and joined the EC to re-check, reconfirm, and re-bag and re-seal everything. That is the main work we came here to do.
So after everything is confirmed, we repackage them back into the bag, and then all the political parties put their seal on it, as well as that of the EC.
So again, the political parties will put their seals on, as well as the Electoral Commission. So after the political parties put their seals on and the Electoral Commission, what happens to the bags now?
Now the police are giving us a safe place for its safekeep until it's been transported from here to the respective constituencies. So that is what we are waiting upon now. If you check, we have 34 constituencies in Accra. Some have finished all their processes. Those here are also waiting to be shown where exactly their bags will be kept, so that everybody will know that our bags is at point A or B or X, so that we all affirm that it is there before we leave here.
These bags that are being kept there, what are your levels of trust that they will not be touched? Is it because of the seals that are on the bag? You're very confident that nothing can happen to it, and you're rest assured that everything else will be as expected?
Okay, so if you look at the various seals that has been put there, you realize that the colors are different. The inscriptions on it are also different. And so we have that for the EC, we have that for the political parties. So basically, you realize that of the NDC and the NPP. I don't think that after this, anybody can break into it. Because if it is broken into, it means that you have to make sure you get the same seal with the same serial number, which will be difficult. And so
Our man, Noble Crosby, and they're reporting from the Accra Regional Police Command, and in talks with some NDC and MPP reps. So because of the Electoral Commission already dispatching some ballot papers to some regional offices ahead of the December 7 general elections.
And to one of our top stories tonight, the Supreme Court, in its reasoning for the ruling on the case of the vacant seats, has said that the ruling by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, cannot take effect in this current parliament. In a 109-page ruling, the Apex Court said a member of parliament can only be considered to have vacated their seat if they change their political identity and remain in parliament under the new identity. Let me bring you some reasoning behind the majority justices and the two dissenting justices as contained in the 109-page ruling. So I'll start off first of all with the majority opinion, and they say that it follows from the above, therefore, that the only plausible conclusion which must necessarily flow from a holistic and contextual reading of Article 97(1)(g) and (h) is that an MP's seat shall be vacated upon departure from the cohort of his elected party in Parliament to join another party in Parliament while seeking to remain that Parliament as member of the new party. It goes further to say that similarly, an independent MP who joins the cohort of a party in Parliament while they remain members of the Parliament for which they were elected as independent member will have to vacate the seats tagged as that of an independent member. Now, consequently, Article 97(1)(g) and (h) must be understood within their contextual framework with no implicit or explicit indication that they pertain to future electoral aspirations or intentions that will materialize in subsequent terms, such as an MP contesting under a different ticket in the next election cycle. So, it concludes by saying that this court will reiterate a purposive interpretation of Article 97(1)(g) and (h) and maintain the distinction between midterm changes in political allegiance and future electoral plans. Now, so, some of the justices who held concurring opinions to this, like Justice S.K. Asiedu, for instance, said, and I quote, "I wish to state that a common thread runs through each of the provisions in Article 97(1)(b) to (h), and that thread is a condition precedent without which a member of parliament cannot, in law, be said to have forfeited his seat in parliament." Let's now engage the thoughts of a former director of the Ghana School of Law and Dean of Mount Crest University, Kweku Ansah Asari. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. 109 pages we have read. What are your thoughts, having gone through excerpts of this judgment?
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. My thoughts are, quite frankly, simple and straightforward in this matter. I still stand by my earlier thought that the Supreme Court did not have the requisite jurisdiction to entertain the matter. But even before dealing with this issue, let me remind our listeners, of the fact that the political parties all have Article 97 in their constitutions. For instance, the NPP Constitution, Article 3, Clause 9, Subclause 1, follows closely the wording of Article 97. And on that score, the NPP expelled certain members they found to be to across the carpet. That is Alanche Mantin and Anon Hininto. And the press release was signed by Jackson Kodria Frempong, the General Secretary, who is himself a lawyer. Therefore, I see in this action a double standard that Apenyo marking. And at the end of this embarrassment, I think that he should apologize to this nation for this needless legal tussle that is causing so much and it's taking so much of our time. Having said that, let me say quickly that the majority judgment that was read by the Honorable Dakwes Sarije SC, for me, missed the jurisdictional issue. The question they pose for themselves is not, to my mind, the issue of jurisdiction that they should have entertained. The right frame or the framework was set clearly spelled out by Justice Tanku Amadou, who didn't miss any words at all in pointing out that their lawsuits did not have jurisdiction to entertain the matter. So my thoughts are no different from my earlier thoughts. The court didn't have the jurisdiction.
But sir, speaking to a few people who I would imagine have read the judgment, they appear to agree with the reasoning of the 7 justices you're saying does not add up.
So when we talk of the issue of jurisdiction, we do not mean the amenability of the parties to a certain provision of the Constitution, but i.e. Article 2(1) and Article 131 of the 1992 Constitution. The jurisdictional issue was whether or not the parties were properly before the court. We have said countless times that the Speaker shouldn't have been dragged initially. The Speaker could only have been joined to the action by order of the Supreme Court. Because per Article 88.5, only the Attorney General ought to have been dragged in the first place by Afenyo Markin to the Supreme Court as the nominal defendant, and then realizing the conflict of interest in allowing the Attorney General to also represent the Speaker. What the Supreme Court ought properly to have done was to have ordered the joinder of the Speaker and to say that if the Attorney General were allowed, to have the most say in this matter, it will result in the executive bringing a case and prosecuting and defending the case itself. This is the point that we are missing. For me, it is not the invocation of Article 2, 1 or 1. For me, the issue is whether there was a defendant on the 18th of October. At the time the application was exported, the Attorney General had not been set.
Right, I'm afraid we've got to leave it here. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwekwan Sarah, who's a former director of the Ghana School of Law. Thank you, sir, for your time on this program.
This is your Election Command Center. Let's do some politics now. Flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has promised the people of Kwadaso in the Ashanti region of recruiting 5,000 youth from the constituency under the Job and Skills Program. Addressing chiefs, clergy and Muslim clerics, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia appealed to them to vote for him to enable the vision he has for the youth coming to fruition.
The traditional leaders, clergy and Muslim clerics welcomed the Vice President and the NPP flag bearer to the constituency. The Chief of Kwadaso, Nanankansa Bwedu, appealed to Ghanaians to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to continue with the development of the country.
Alaji Bawumia, ono kwani Vice President ya wapa Ghana ha, yenya no wase bianka.
Flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, called for massive support from the constituents and promised a digital drive for employment.
Memunuso omuhia skills. Yeah, the technical and vocational aba almost here digital skills, and we are seeing now called digital. Who are digital skills are now ote kwada so ha ubetime yejuma ewo America, right from here ewo Canada, ewo Singapore, na ote ha na oju dollars ewo ha wo kwada so right from here. Eti me pese Ghana mbemuno yama omo training in digital skills maybe.
Later, the Vice President and the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entribu Esiako, took turns to address party faithful at the Bawumia Connect. He was emphatic that the NPP will win the upcoming elections.
I just want to tell you that on the 7th December, we are winning the power. The power belongs to us. The power belongs to us. The winning is in our side. The victory is in your side. The victory is in our side.
The flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, appealed to them to vote for infrastructure development in the country.
Elsewhere, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress says he is better placed to erect the and commission statutes in his name than President Akufo-Addo, who has never completed any major infrastructure project. Now campaigning in the Western North region, John Mahama said service to the nation must humble any true leader in selfless humility.
President Akufo-Addo has enjoyed the trends for days after he commissioned a statue in honor of himself. John Mahama threw the first dig at him. Once more, John Mahama is unrelenting and uncharitable to the president.
And yeah, I come in there. The guys are made from the statue. Nkosi, baby, I'm a juma pebia. And yeah, Kata Mahabo, Medibakubesio. Anka Kotukwa Airport, Terminal 3, Mede Baako besi yo. Anka University of Ghana Medical Center, Mede Baako besi yo. Anka Kwame Nkrumah Interchange, Mede Baako besi yo. Anka Kaswa Interchange, Mede Baako besi yo. And so we have baby or this statue no ko see ya. Enjuma oya wo ho nyina onwie. Hospital a omudi ko see hospital nenim ye sin ye. Eyi interchange na ye si no China for no ye.
Earlier, John Mahama was in the Bia East constituency. He moved shortly to the Jaboso constituency. Well, attention has been brought to the Jaboso constituency in recent time over the introduction of the Deputy Finance Minister to contest the ranking member on the Health Committee in Parliament. Arguably, a vociferous voice who has given government sleepless nights in its oversight on the health sector. For the chiefs, Jaboso and Western North ceases to exist without John Mahama and the NDC.
I have lived in the places where 24-hour economy works. People move from shift to shift. So as a result of that, there is always employment and it helps the economy. And I'm just appealing to you. Sesanyamiya Adom, Nagana 4, Emma Wakwanya, na wubedi ya subiemwa. Sa 24-hour economy no. Enya wankranko. Benjamin Kati ya su hiyabi.
A major confidence John Mahama reposed in Kwabena Mintah Kando to retain the seat. For Kwabena Mintah Kando, his oversight as an MP will not be derailed by any machinations.
Me yo mu boni bia boni amaye ni say aban no ya ade na enya meka na no de sa aban no ya ade na enya de a meka ne nne meka ne ochina minsuro bia.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Jaboso.
And now to the Western Region. Commuters on the Takrady-Aguna-Nkwanta Road in the Western Region will soon heave a sigh of relief as rehabilitation work on the stretch is about 35% complete. It will be recalled the poor state of the stretch, which is part of the N1, resulted in a blockade of Ewusiejo in 2023, disrupting international traffic and leaving many stranded for days. Irama Smith joined some engineers from the Ghana Highway Authority and the contractor to assess progress of work. She spoke to us earlier today.
Right, so this is part of the N1, which starts from Benin, passes through Accra, Cape Coast, through Takrady to La Côte d'Ivoire. So you can imagine the economic importance. Here within the Western region, this is a very crucial route because natural resource from the forest areas, I'm talking about from the upper areas, the Western North, Takwa mines and all those areas pass through here before they get to the Takrady Harbour. That's if they are unable to use the rail line. So this is a very, very crucial route here. Now, you would recall that last year, around October, there was a blockade on the Ewusiejo part of the road because of the poor nature of the road. It was given on contract to Just More Construction. They have 3 years to complete the construction and they are 35% complete. This morning, the Takrady area manager for the Ghana Highway Authority as well as the regional engineer took some media persons on a tour of the facility, and he tells us that because of the use of this particular stretch, they have had to ensure that they design a road that is specifically suitable because of the weight of goods that usually pass on it. We all know about the financial implications of such projects. It's very common to see contractors abandoning projects because of lack of funding from government. We have been speaking to the CEO of Just More Construction, and that is Dr. Justice Amo, and he assures us that everything has been put in place to ensure that this project is able to meet its deadlines, as in government being the main financier, their bankers, and also they themselves as the contractors. So he assures that this will definitely be completed without the challenge of funding.
And since the arrival of the drip equipment in September this year, several roads linking communities in the East Gonja municipality have been opened up to facilitate better access to essential services, markets, and economic opportunities. Well, hard to reach communities such as Bunkpa, Bo, Lamsa, Akapre, Katanga, among others, have since been opened up. Now, for residents of Bunkpa and its adjoining communities, the tireless efforts by the NPP parliamentary candidate for Salaga South constituency, Adam Salifu Brahma, in the provision of fuel will influence the outcome of the elections. Now, let's touch base with my colleague Christopher Mwaku, who was in the Bunkpa community to engage with residents there. Chris, how is the drip equipment assisting to improve road network in the area?
Yes, so, Parkwesi, you know that in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region and the entirety of the Savannah region, access roads has been a major challenge for residents and affecting economic, education, and health activities of the people. And so with the coming in of the drip equipment and into the various districts, for residents, it is beginning to be a game changer for them, especially so when major roads are being opened up for residents to be able to access markets, places, and also health and education facilities. Now, if you look at the constituency, the drip equipment, when they arrived, there wasn't fuel for the operators to use them for the purposes for which they were procured. And so the parliamentary candidate for the ruling New Patriotic Party took it upon himself to ensure that he provided full support for them to open up some roads linking communities that hitherto were not able to access the main markets. And so that, for residents and electorates in the Salaga South constituency, is going to influence their votes. Let's take a listen to what some of them have actually been saying.
Yada nyakumpansi na enda salasi nti beko na uchinu no kwada akabebi no bese anajo 11 timi dinu moto so kwanu nye timi kuduru na yale no kula atimi no tina akwada no bebo 2 na akabebi bese asala ayekwan na amayanti yada nyakumpansi nyame ma wansan kanu ho na ono so nhwese ono so hu se yawo ho nti yada salasi nti se dia kwani dia yada nyamia se dia ankesala ya ma nti se dia kwani ya kura se oyem how dia obetuma atwi baska akọ na bibia okodro bibia an how bio no mo ahwe kama na wasan ba kama.
Christopher, I've got to say a big thank you to you.
And now to some rather unfortunate news. Scotsers along the Odawna River woke up earlier this morning running for their lives while trying to salvage their properties following a fire outbreak. Most of them, who are still counting their losses, have threatened to boycott this year's general elections if government and stakeholders refuse to come to their aid. My colleague Frederick Kunzo-Tuanu was at the scene and reports.
The devastation, sorrow and confusion written on the faces of residents along the Odawna River was telling. Daniel, a trader, said he was woken up by the blazing fire. He and his friends had a tough time salvaging what was left. The cause of the fire, he said, is believed to be an electric fault, although it was not confirmed.
How it started with electric fault. One room. Before we were able to realize the fire is too strong for us to quench it. We tried to call fire service before they will land. 20 minutes before they came. And we were able to quench the fire, but everything has gone off.
The blaze, which erupted in the early hours of Thursday, has left many homeless and devastated.
Our plasmas, our fridges, our drinks, our dresses, everything from 100 to 0. That's where we are in now.
As the things happen, we have 70 million loss. So we're begging Ghana president to do what to help us. But right now we don't know what we could do again. Me myself, I do confusion where they. I do confusion. I don't know what I would do.
With the December polls few days away,
Affected persons have threatened to boycott the elections.
You know, the government to have you off on us, so you give us something to compensate us. Right now, we don't know where we are going. If the government doesn't compensate us, maybe we are going to turn to different things. And we are not refugees, we are citizens.
And now to some health stories. As of Wednesday, November 13th, 17 districts in 4 regions have so far recorded cases of cholera, with the central region recording the bulk number of cases. Deputy Director of Public Health in charge of disease surveillance at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Dennis Lai, says 16 persons have so far died from the disease, with 85 on admission.
Since the declaration of the cholera outbreak in the Ada East and West districts of the Greater Accra region in October, the disease has spread to the eastern, western and central regions. The central region is reported to have the highest number of cases. So far, 116 cases have been confirmed out of 1,600 suspected cases. The Deputy Director of Public Health in charge of disease surveillance at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Dennis Lai, reiterated the importance of early reporting to health facilities.
There have been 16 deaths, unfortunately, and we've had over 1,600 suspected cases. And the last count, we had 17 districts in the 4 regions. Now, that is not to say that these are the only places where cholera may be. If people haven't reported, for example, to be tested, then we may not know.
He noted that the service has heightened surveillance to contain the spread, but there is a need for the general public to maintain proper hygiene.
So hand washing is a very basic thing to do, but it prevents a lot of diseases. And those things must not go because an outbreak is gone. But we want these things to be habits people take along every time. If you report early, then the likelihood of a better outcome is much, much higher. Diarrhea, vomiting at this time, nobody should stay at home.
Engagements with neighboring countries within the ECOWAS bloc continue as cases surge in the region, calling for a coordinated effort.
A reminder, still watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We're going to go for a quick break. Still ahead, we've got the very latest in the world of business.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here. Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has 2 of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally. Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal.
Dr. Baumia once said,
We are building a new harbor in Cape Coast and a new airport in Cape Coast.
In 2020, we will promise an airport and a harbor. Fast forward to today, absolutely nothing. Sure working. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Darling natural twists blend with her hair over time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She's really more beautiful every week. Darling natural twists get better every day, just like you.
Fire pomudi ni agubi. Kana fueni aje. If you say ya your local spices na ya fra dia ya sankofa natural spice.
Me dey go me jollof mu. Ni me still ahuduma. Emanate dance.
Darling, the barbecue they go on.
Sankofa natural spices. And one you use 100% natural.
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. FDA.
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Oh, Mansa, what is happening?
Sit down.
Mansa, why is your shop so empty?
You have reminded me of my sorrow. You were with me when I went to the bank for a loan to establish this place. The bank is chasing me for their money now. The interest alone is 40% every year. I can't restock because of the exchange rate. Today the dollar is 15, tomorrow 16. And it's even getting to 17. Why? The price of an item, 1 cedi today, 10 cedis tomorrow. The numerous taxes, high electricity and water bills are killing me. I can't plan. I can't save. I can't even repay my loan. All my capital is gone. Oh! Who will save me out of my misery? I'm suffering. Where is help?
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
You're looking for a bank to rely on. Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. We say to bank be no lie. Only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve tank. Cause every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here the date. I'm a busy person, me no need time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My shimmy blue shirt. They tell me office a chilly, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first.
Nobody feed do I'm like us. Do I'm like us. First Bank we treat you first. Treat you first. Somebody see think about you first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN.